big story this morning, stay at home or else. That's the order now from Governor Jay Inslee in an effort to slow the spread of coronavirus. The order effective immediately for all of Washington state, and it's expected to last at least 2 weeks. The governor hopes this will discourage people from congregating close together in public spaces while still getting outside for a walk or a bike ride is allowed. Staying in your neighborhood, the governor says, instead of traveling is encouraged.
We don't want people going to other communities where perhaps there's less infection.
Trips to the grocery store, pharmacy, and work for jobs deemed essential are still allowed. Non-essential businesses have until Wednesday to wrap things up. Restaurants will still offer to-go food. Anyone not abiding by the order can face criminal penalties. As of this morning, Washington has had 110 deaths because of the outbreak. Half of those deaths are people over the age of 80. The state now has a total of 2,221 total cases, but almost 32,000 people have tested negative. That means 93% of those tested are testing negative. An inspection into the nursing home at the epicenter of the outbreak here in Western Washington, an inspection now wrapping up, finding that the nursing home was too slow to act. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, says it found 3 immediate jeopardy situations in which patient safety was in danger. CMS says the facility didn't quickly identify and manage sick patients. 37 coronavirus deaths are linked to Life Care of Kirkland. The report also found the center didn't notify the state health department about the rising number of respiratory infections. And inspectors also found that the facility did not have a backup plan when its primary clinician fell ill. Mimi?
The U.S. State Department is under fire because of thousands of Americans who are stranded all over the world. The Hill reports that more than 13,000 Americans still can't get home because of travel bans that kicked in and limited flights. Many countries have closed their borders to try to limit the spread of the virus. Officials say they're organizing at least 16 flights around the world to evacuate them. Passengers quarantined following a coronavirus outbreak on a cruise ship will be released today. The Grand Princess docked in Oakland, California more than 2 weeks ago after 21 passengers tested positive for the virus. More than 3,500 people on board were taken to military bases in California, Texas, and Georgia for a 14-day quarantine. It's not clear how many others tested positive for coronavirus. Taking a live look now at our nation's capital, where lawmakers are trying to hammer out a deal on the economic stimulus plan, but they're fighting over whether corporations should get a chunk of the money. Tracy Potts has the latest.
Negotiating late into the night on nearly $2 trillion to help businesses and workers shut down by the coronavirus.
I think it's very hard to figure out how this bill is going to trickle down to help people like myself.
The Democratic leader.
Democrats blocked it, concerned nearly a quarter of that money was a corporate slush fund. Now both sides expect a deal today.
There's still a couple of open issues, but I think we're very hopeful that this can be closed out tomorrow.
I'm pleased that our 2 main issues, Workers First and a Marshall Plan for hospitals, are very strongly in the bill.
As health experts predict the worst is yet to come.
This week, it's going to get bad.
President Trump now wants to reopen businesses soon.
You can't keep it closed for the next, for years. We have to open our country because that causes problems that, in my opinion, could be far bigger problems.
It's not clear his top scientists agree.
What the president has asked us to do is to assemble all the data and give him our best medical recommendation based on all the data.
Medicine and money dominating Washington as 140 million Americans are told to stay inside. And unemployment insurance claims are expected to soar this week. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
Well, the markets look like they're going to be opening sharply higher today because of the economic stimulus plan that could soon be finalized. Dow futures surged 900 points in early trading. Right now, futures are up 800 points. Yesterday, Wall Street fell 3% after Congress failed to approve a plan to help the economy.
Mimi, there's a shred of good news coming out of China this morning. Authorities say they're ending a 2-month lockdown in Hubei province. That's where the coronavirus outbreak began. Healthy people will be allowed to leave the province tonight at midnight. It's 9 a.m. our time. The area was hit the hardest when the coronavirus outbreak first started in late December. Hubei has seen almost no infections for a week or so now. But the city of Wuhan, known as the global epicenter of the pandemic, will remain on lockdown until April 8th. In Italy now, already there's a nationwide lockdown and restrictions are going to be even tighter. So the opposite of what's happening in China this morning. People must now have a good reason to travel and documents to prove it. They're only being allowed to travel for urgent business or health reasons and are having their temperatures checked as they go. Italy reports 602 new deaths from coronavirus just yesterday alone, bringing the total to over 6,000 with another 63,000 infected. That's the second highest in the world, only behind China.
The most important thing for every single person watching this, though, is that you must follow the advice and stay at home if at all possible, because it not only keeps you safe, but it also saves lives.
Britain's Prime Minister is reinforcing advice from other government officials, telling people across Britain, you must stay home. These are the toughest restrictions the British have faced since World War II. King 5 is working hard to bring you the facts, not fear, on the coronavirus outbreak here in our area and around the world. When we're not on the air, you can always find the latest on our website, king5.com. For a direct link to all of our coverage, just text the word virus to us to the number on your screen, 206-448-4545.